So welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. Today we are joined with yet again another student interview, and today we have Jermaine on the student interview. He goes through and shares his growth from literally zero to £20,000, I believe. He's based in London, so I believe he operates in pounds. £20,000 per month with his agency. He was able to leverage the Quantum Leap Ecom Agency program and go from zero to 20,000. Now he is about to join the Centurion Agency program, and in this student interview I kind of dig deep into exactly what he implemented when he started out, when he had no clients. How did he get those first few clients? How did he then, build out his team that enabled him to start to produce, above average results for those clients to increase retention, all that type of stuff. And overall, how he has enabled himself to go from literally zero, where I know a lot of probably you guys watching this video right now, or some of you watching this video right now, maybe in that exact same position, right? Complete beginner, $0 per month. You got no investment capital or you got no capital to invest, I should say. So it's like, where do you go? How do you grow? How do you get those first few clients? How do you build a team? How do you get clients without case studies? All that type of stuff. We dig deep into all of that in this student interview. So with that being said, go ahead and enjoy the next 30-45 minutes. If you're interested in joining the Quantum Leap Ecom Agency program, go ahead, book in a call with our student success manager below. You can find the link in the description. If you're an agency owner between 5 to 10,000 a month and you want to scale to 100,000 a month plus, go ahead, click the Centurion Agency link in the description. You'll be able to book in a call with myself personally, and I'll show you exactly how to do so. But with that being said, enjoy this next student interview. All right, so welcome back to another video on the channel, everyone. This is obviously another student interview, and today we're joined with Jermaine. He just said to me there that he's coming up for his first year's anniversary for his agency, and inside of that year, he's gone from zero to, was it right now, roughly 17,000 a month, right? In pounds as well.
In pounds, yeah, correct.
Yeah, so obviously February, you mentioned you had like 19.8, was it? This month will be right around 17. So, I mean, yeah, obviously there's a lot to go through, right? But I mean, I'm curious, just like from a perspective of like how long you've been running your agency. It's been 1 year and you've gone from zero to right around £20,000 a month. What's been the biggest driver for that scale? It's pretty quick scale, that.
Yeah, so I officially took my first client on the 1st of July. I probably started outreach about 2 months before that. So 2 months, no clients, just in the trenches, doing outreach, doing Loom videos. So I mainly do Loom videos as kind of my sales process outreach, right up until the sales.
Like Loom?
Loom videos, yeah. So
got it.
My kind of process is I'd kind of I've tested a whole different outreach strategy from Instagram video DMs, like 15-second pictures. I was literally doing like 20, 30 a day, just banging those out.
Yeah,
and
right.
then obviously didn't start like that. I started low and then kind of worked my way up with all email outreach strategy first things first. And then I kind of came across Loom. So my kind of background, I was on YouTube for a little bit, like just nonsense, filming nonsense, but I was pretty decent in front of the camera. So I always kind of reverted to video. So when video DMs weren't getting the best responses, like the responses I got, the business owners loved it. It just wasn't the right fit. So then I kind of figured out, came across Loom basically. And Loom was a game changer for me. Like I still use it to this day for outreach. And I just started to get some serious traction with Loom. And then, and then I've just literally just been scaling my numbers, with Loom. So basically just sending Loom cold emails, pitching the idea of a free Loom video, making it sound like a no-brainer on Loom video, just get my personality across, get out across like results and what we're achieving. Back then I was using like industry kind of case studies and reverted to my media buy at the time case studies. And then I got my first client in on the 1st of July and just kind of went ham ever since, to be honest with you.
Yeah, nice. So did you get your first client by virtue of leveraging media buy case studies?
Correct, yeah.
Got it. So how did you go about, because I literally had another interview right before this one. I asked the same question just because I think it's a big issue that a lot of people face, or at least that I hear in the industry, is that, you know, they speak to a media buyer or whatever it may be, and then the media buyer saying, like, you know, it's the same with clients, right? They get outreach so much by all these agency owners who have no clients, and you know, saying, oh yeah, I'll get a client in like 2 months or 3 months, and they're just tired of it and they don't want to work with agencies like that. So obviously back then when you had no clients, how did you structure that to get the media buyer on board to allow them to also allow you to leverage their case studies, and for them to be happy with that? How did you structure that?
For sure. He even had that same conversation with me way back then. He's had a load of agency owners reach out to him, promising him clients and never giving clients. You know, I just kind of told him what my plans were. I kind of give him an understanding. I kind of come from a sales background. I worked in corporate sales before, so I have a decent understanding of how to sell, and I feel like I'm pretty decent at, you know, building relationships. So I kind of did that with him, basically. Sold him on what my kind of vision is with the agency, how quickly I want to grow it, where I want to grow it to. Like, I was literally going all in. And he kind of like appreciated the honesty. And I had like quite a lot of meetings booked around that time I kind of spoke with him. So I literally showed him my calendar. I had like 9 booked in that 2-week period. And he was like, cool, all right, here's some case studies. Let's get going if you can obviously sign a client. So that's how I kind of brought him on,
Nice. Yeah, I think it's definitely it is an issue that a lot of people face. So it's interesting to see how you was able to combat that. So what did you sign the first client on for?
£1,000 a month.
Okay, nice. Was there a reason why you did 1,000, or was it like you just didn't feel comfortable charging more, or?
Yeah, even to be honest with you, like even that's still a paradigm I'm kind of going through. Like, I know I need to charge more. Like, our case studies are ridiculous. I know I need to charge more. I think.
Oh, even to today's date.
Even to today's day, yeah. Like, we've got some decent retainers in, and we've got some performance fees attached, but I do know I need to be charging more. However, like, it's just, I'm going for almost a bottleneck at the moment of like the clients I'm kind of finding and reaching out to and kind of responding are not as high tick clients as I could be charging those higher retainer for, you know, that kind of makes sense. So that's still a kind of bottleneck that we're going through at the moment. We'll probably go into that in a second later on, but at the time, I was working like a corporate sales job. I was getting around £1,500 per month, working like 40 to 50 hours, like 8 a.m. till 6 p.m, like ridiculous hours. Wow. And I was getting like £1,500 a month. So when I kind of saw, well, the owner was happy for me to charge £1,000 a month, and I literally just work from home, I was like, whoa, like this is just so easy, or easier, you know? And I remember getting that first Stripe notification. So prior to that, I used to do, it's probably stupid now looking back at it, but to kind of help with motivation, I used to invoice myself £2 every week, and I used to pay it automatically. So then I could see that vision of that Stripe notification coming through on my phone. You know, when you look at, and you see the, you've been paid,
Yeah.
I used to picture that saying like £1,000, £2,000 a month, or whatever the figure may be. You know, that was my kind of, not hack. I lost probably a bit of money doing that, to be fair, because obviously Stripe takes a bit of fee.
For the fees.
Yeah. But that was my kind of little motivation thing to kind of say, like, one day that's going to say £1,000, that's going to say £2,000, whatever it is. And I was on the way to Tesco's. This is like during quarantine lockdown, and I saw the £1,000 come in, and I looked at my brother. I was like, it worked.
Yeah.
It
worked. For sure.
So that was an amazing moment. I'm sure you remember when you signed your first client. But
I was just gonna say, I remember it. Yeah, I actually remember exactly where I was in my old house, and yeah, just like that feeling that you get. It was both like I was like super excited, but also a little nervous, because now I actually had a client. It was like, you know what I mean? It's like, holy shit, okay, now I need to really like deliver. Now I need to, you know, do what I've said to them that I was going to do. Now they've kind of put their trust in me almost. So now I need to deliver, you know? Obviously that's why, or a big reason as to why I always say about a media buyer, which is, I take it at that point with that first client, you had a media buyer, right?
Yeah, I did. So
got it.
I've actually had 2 media buyers, kind of, now I'm looking at it. So I had one media buyer. So the one I spoke to you about, that's kind of how I found him. And he wasn't even transparent with me at the time. He had his own agency. That's probably went down to my interviewing skills at the time. So it was kind of like a white label situation, but I didn't even know what white label was back then. I just thought this guy's a media buyer. I found him through Facebook groups. I interviewed a bunch of people. Yeah. Well, I didn't ask that question about like, are you an entrepreneur? Are you a business owner? And then when he kind of got into the process, I figured out that he was managing his own clients for his own agency as well. So it was a white label basically. And obviously he didn't want to do client communication. So like a month in, I found another media buyer who I'm still working with to this day. Who's amazing.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so I used that first original media buyers case studies and then obviously brought on that client. But it is a big responsibility. Like I think a lot of people are going to play it down. Like I kind of been reflecting recently, like we're literally managing the online marketing campaigns for like e-commerce brands, you know, that's some business baby. Yeah.
Exactly.
Take on.
For sure, dude. I think that's an idea that people definitely need to start applying in outreach as well. Like they think that like, oh, just one email saying, hey, I run ads is going to be like enough for a brand to switch their entire marketing department over to you specifically and start paying you for it and giving you £10,000 a month, $20,000, whatever it is, for you to manage that spend. Like it's a pretty tall order, you know? And I think, as you said, it's pretty full on, like what we're actually doing. And I think that can definitely be applied to outreach as well. Like people just send like, you know, one email or a couple emails and expect a brand to change their entire current strategy and put it through you. It's just not enough.
100% agree. And like, if you kind of, what I've always done with outreach is trying to put myself in their shoes, right? Like you as well, I'm sure you constantly get sent like emails, cold email pictures, and just kind of looks the same and generic. Like business owners are the exact same. Like I've spoken to a load of my clients and they get pitched every single day, like constantly by different agencies, different services, them X, Y, and Z. So you've just got to kind of find a way to stand out, to be honest with you. And Loom was my outlet for that. And my follow-ups, like if I send a Loom to a client, they were seeing it by force because, you know, I'm sure you've done Looms before, how much effort it takes to put in one Loom, you know, like 10-ish minutes into one Loom. So they're seeing that by force, whether it's 6 follow-ups after the Loom or, you know, I'm following up on LinkedIn, follow up on Instagram. Like I was literally I remember one brand I was reaching out to, we actually signed, I sent them a Loom, they opened it. You know how on Loom, how you can see how many views they've got, viewed the video. They viewed it like 7 times. So 7 different people, I don't know how it works, but 7 times they got viewed, but no reply. And they have like 3 or 4 different Instagram accounts for different locations around the world.
Right.
Instagram account, I was DMing on my personal Instagram, my agency Instagram, and I've kind of got a sub agency Instagram as well. So all 3 different accounts, I was DMing them my link to kind of watch the Loom or book a call. They eventually booked a call and the owner was literally like, we're here because of your persistence and the value that you brought. But it's more so
for sure. Like, that's definitely something that's important, like following up. And, you know, because the thing is, if you follow up a bunch of times and they end up telling you to like F off, you've not lost anything. Yeah. Like you're not going to get a book call anyway. Yeah.
You've not really, all it's taken is a bit of time, really. Like there's softwares out there like Lemlist. I use Lemlist. I'm literally, that is my Bible. Lemlist follows up for you, you know, through email.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, like I'll just follow up manually via Instagram, etc. But like business owners are so busy. Like how busy are we when we're running agencies, right? You can imagine brand owners, they have multiple brands as well. So they may generally be interested, but just don't have a second to reply or just forget. So if you follow up, you're just leaving so much potential clients on the table, you know?
So much money on the table. And a lot of the time agency owners are telling client or prospects like, hey, you need to be running ads because you're leaving so much money on the table, but they fail to see that they themselves are leaving so much money on the table by just sending 2-3 emails in a sequence, which also is the exact same 2-3 emails for the most part that everybody else is sending.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
So it doesn't, it's just a different mindset for sure. So I'm curious as well, like about your current agency right now, kind of how it's structured and whatnot. So what's, first of all, how many clients do you have that make up that, you know, 17,000, 18,000 pounds a month?
Yeah, so at the moment we're on about 12-ish clients, 12, 13 clients. Like I said,
Okay, got it.
I know I need to be charging more. Our average
Yeah,
billable is probably around 18-ish hundred. The highest client that we've got at the moment is around 3K, 3.2K pounds.
got it.
Um, so I know I want to really push that to like a standard, like around 2,500 pounds to 3-ish K pounds as a standard billable.
Yeah.
But it's a weird one. I'm a bit not lenient, I'd say. It's something I've reflected on as well. Like, I'll come across on a call with a potential client, and they're directly within our niche. I know we can help them because we've got incredible results for them before, but they're currently at like that 8K, 9K mark, you know. And I know ideally for me to be charging, 2K, 2.5, they need to be doing, 18K plus. But then I kind of resonate with business a lot, and I was quick run back. I was born and raised in Australia, so we've kind of been working with a few like Australian, New Zealand clients at the moment.
Were you really?
I was born and raised in Sydney, so
Oh, wow.
I know you were in Manchester, right?
Yeah, we're pretty much the reverse. Yeah, I moved to Australia when I was 6 from Manchester. Yeah.
We're the exact reverse, but I moved to London when I was 16, 17.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
What was the reason? Completely off topic, but what was the reasoning for that?
Yeah, so I used to play professional football, soccer, I think you call it over there.
Right. Yeah. Football.
Football. So
Yeah.
all my brothers, I've got two other brothers who play professional football now as well. So the whole family were football fanatics in Sydney. Moved to England. Mum was born in Milton Keynes, so she had English passport. So we just kind of moved for football, really. Didn't work out for me. And then kind of stumbled across the world of agency. But yeah, so I've kind of had my roots born and bred in Australia. My accent's all over the place. Like I've got an English Australian.
Yeah, I thought for sure you've got a London accent.
Yeah. So I can resonate pretty well with Australians because I was born and bred there. And so I've been reaching out to quite a bit of Australian clients recently. So I'll just come across a client that I know we can generally help and generally help scale. And then obviously I can't really charge them the price I want to charge them, but I know they're a good fit for long term, So that's why I've just kind of attached like 5%, 7% ROAS deals to kind of help build that up. But yeah, I know I need to charge more, hence why my average retainer per client is on the lower side of things. But it depends on the way you look at it, to be honest. Like I'm just kind of looking at where I was before. Like I know a lot of people kind of compare with the industry standard for agency. I always kind of compare it to my situation, how much I was making working full time. And kind of the profit that we're taking at the moment is like 10, 12x what I was making, So
yeah, for sure.
I know
1,500 a month.
Yeah, like I know it's on the lower side, but I mean, like for me personally, in my situation, like I'm absolutely loving it.
Dude, that's one of the main things that matters, right? Like I mean, look, you definitely could be pushing it without a doubt, like even just instead of doing 5%, 15%, especially for the smaller brands, like they would way rather, and obviously everybody listening as well, if you hop on a sales call with a 10,000 a month brand or whatever it may be, they would way rather a 20, 25% ROAS deal rather than like a $2,500 retainer and a 5%. They would rather a $1,000 or $1,500 plus 25%. And as you said before, right, your service delivery is super down packed. You got a good team, and that's something I want to get into here in a minute as well. But if that service delivery is there, then that 25% could come out to like, $3,000 to $5,000 plus your 1,000 retainer or whatever. And there's your billable, increasing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah,
of course. So with the team, so you've just got one media buyer right now?
So I've kind of, over the last month, I've kind of taken a little bit of it. I've purposely taken a little bit of a hit to help my client retention, client customer service, etc. So I've always had one media buyer up until probably a month and a half ago. The one media buyer since July, I've been working with, end of July, I've been working with ever since. And I kind of seen, well, first things first, I brought an appointment setter in January to help me with meetings. She basically is an extension of what I was doing. I literally trained on how to pitch the ideas of balloons, picture on how to get video outreach, DMs, like the whole kind of shebang of outreach. So I brought her on. She was booking me quite a decent amount of meetings. She's probably booking me about 9 to 10 a month, sorry.
Yeah.
Recently, massively increased. And then just recently, so like probably 2 weeks ago, I noticed that my current media buy, as we've scaled to the clients that we're at the moment, the results were still good, but the client communication kind of dropped because in Slack, he was finding it difficult to kind of communicate with all the clients and constantly keep them updated as we kind of scale to that point. As a media buyer, he can probably manage, he reckons, or he's had experience managing up to 20 accounts, but he's only just focused on the ad side of things. He didn't really do much client communication. Whereas with me and my agency, he does like the reporting, he does client communication, checking calls, etc. So I kind of saw that, and I've employed a junior media buyer / operations manager. So she's got some experience media buying. She's not an expert or anything like that, but she's got excellent kind of communication skills and like rapport building skills, which is what I wanted, you know. And she wants to grow an agency long term. So obviously ticked all my boxes. So I brought her in. We're training her on media buying, and she's basically working alongside my current media buying, learning our strategy to things. And she spends most of her time doing the ad copy for our clients, client communication, updating, and she does like the Loom reporting to our clients as well. So it's really taken that. I kind of looked at the agency where the kind of weak points were, and it was kind of with client communication, with the media buying, and obviously the scale that we took on. So I kind of brought her in. And she's kind of managing that side of things. So it's like a junior media buyer role / client or communications role, whatever you want to call it.
It's a / general manager as well. Sounds very much like a general manager structure as well.
Pretty much, yeah. So I've kind of taken a little bit of a hit on my total profit, if you like. But like I said,
I agree with that decision though. Like trying to, you know what I mean? Like I think that's one thing that like, it's all right in the beginning, you know, trying to like profit margins and whatnot. Obviously, agency business model is naturally ridiculous margins.
Sure.
But if it's going to mean client experience is going to 2x, 3x, client results are going to 2x, 3x, and it's going to mean maybe your profit margin decrease by a couple percent, 5%, maybe even 10%. I would all day make that decision for sure. I suppose that's pretty much what's happened with you there with that new hire, right?
Exactly. It's a no-brainer. Like, don't get me wrong, profit margin is still probably around like 77 and 80, just below 80%. But especially when I've taken sales calls recently, like the last 2 clients I've taken on, we've signed them because their current agency wasn't giving them the attention that they needed. You know? And that kind of sparked the bell. I was like, all right, so I kind of dug on there. I was like, why? Like, what does that look like? Like every time they ask for changes in ads or ad copy, like I take them 2-3 working days to reply. That's ridiculous. Like we try to reply within few hours, you know. And I've kind of purposely hired around the globe so that someone's constantly awake at the agency. It's a big game changer. Previous to the last hire especially, like obviously we're in the UK. When we have clients in New York or LA, they're 2 different time zones, so they're replying at night when I'm trying to settle down for bed. So I just found myself constantly like on client communication, replying to inquiries, etc., like 11 p.m. at night, which is when work kind of should be shut off, you know? So I, even still to this day, find it very hard to switch off, but that's why I kind of made that hire as well. And like you said, if it's going to 2x your client results and client satisfaction, like that's what you want, you know? Going back to earlier.
And you end up making way more money that way anyway, because retention then increases. So now you go from 6 months to 9 months to 12 months and you make more per client over their lifetime. It's just makes complete sense, right?
Exactly right. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm curious as well, like you're obviously you've hired quite a few different people, and it sounds like maybe not the first media buyer per se, but definitely the second, the general manager or what do you refer to her as? Or junior media buyer. They definitely sound like good hires. So I'm curious what does your hiring process look like? Because I think that's another issue that a lot of agency owners struggle with. Like, it's like, where do I go? Where do I find these really good people who are happy to and actually want to stay with me for 5 years, 10 years, or you know, just the longer lens on working with you, not just like, just sees you as another client. How does your hiring process look?
Yeah, so the successful hire that basically brought on the first one. The second media buyer technically, I found him on Reddit. So I tried Facebook groups, I tried Upwork, I tried LinkedIn, I tried everywhere. I even tried Instagram. Looking at hashtags, but then I found Reddit. Reddit is pretty weird to kind of understand. I still don't fully understand. There's loads of forums, different groups. There's a lot going on. I basically put a post on how I'd scale this account, basically, just a screenshot that I found on Google, I think it was. And then had a bunch of people reply to me. I was like, whoa, who are these people? And on Reddit, you obviously just get like weird usernames, and then you just get like a cartoon picture or something like that. But I was told that on Reddit, you get like the developers, you get the data scientists, you get the people that just love it. You know, they're on there on spare time, helping people on forums, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of saw that and I was like, all right, cool. And I found a few people, dropped them a DM, got them on Facebook, kind of saw who they were, sent them a Google Forms to fill out like a super quick application, jumped them on a Zoom interview, basically, or Zoom chat, if you like. I had 3 calls with my media buyer, because obviously the first time, obviously I didn't realize it was a white labeler. So I probably I didn't interrogate him, but I asked him a lot of deep questions, you know, about his goals, he was kind of
double check.
Yeah, like I quadruple checked this guy.
Nice.
I was straight up honest with him. I think I kind of like to come across quite straightforward, so people kind of see what you get. I liked him. My last meeting, but I technically had a business and didn't tell me like, what's your business ventures? And he told me like he's just in the stock markets and that's it. Like he literally just plays COD, Call of Duty on the weekends, and that's all he kind of does, you know. And I was like, all right, cool. And then brought him on after 2-3 calls. Showed me his ad account that he's managing on Zoom screen recording. I think that's super important. I had a lot of interviews where people were showing me screenshots, but they couldn't explain how they got the results. Which means copy those screenshots, you know. I mean, you get that in all business models. You get weird and wacky people trying to obviously do what they need to do, but that's a key thing. Just ask for a live recording, or like actually see the screens as they go through the results. And then no brainer from there. My VA, found her through Facebook groups, I believe, just Facebook groups. VA is one of those positions, like it's more so the kind of like media buying as well, right? But VA is more the personal traits, because outreach is tedious, it's long, it's draining. Especially when you're not getting replies, you need like a resilient character to be doing that for you. Right? So that's kind of what I looked for. Same thing, filled out application form, took her on a few Zoom calls, told her the worst possible side of things, like the worst kind of thing that she experienced.
I like that.
With it. I almost try to discourage her a little bit with, I up until the last few weeks, I was still doing outreach alongside her. So I was still currently facing the bottlenecks up you're facing outreach. So I'll literally explaining my day and explaining like how annoyed I'd get when clients aren't responding, etc. And she's based in the Philippines. So obviously from what I was paying her, it's considered really good money for her. She's looking after her family and stuff now. She's a baller at the moment. And I give her like a commission incentive as well. So any client that you'll bring on and I'll sign, I'll give her a nice little bonus as well. And that kind of helps relationship, as well as she's always a baller in the Philippines at the moment. But just last month, she brought on 5 clients for us. So like, that's a lot in the 1 month. And they'll probably go on to another point where things kind of break at scale. Hence why I brought on that media buy as well. But going back to the VA side of things, like she's doing really well recently. But up until that point, she wasn't getting too many meetings booked up until probably the last 2 months ish. Then she started to book like 6 meetings a month, 7 meetings.
And what was the catalyst there? So first 2 months she wasn't getting meetings. Last month 5 clients, not even meetings, 5 clients signed on. That's like exactly what you want to achieve, right? So what do you think, or what was like the thing that changed in her daily routine, how she was operating? Was it a mindset, the way she was looking at leads? Like what changed from no meetings to 5 clients?
2 things: the numbers that were pumping out and the kind of quality. She'll reach out to some quality links, but they were mainly through my IPS, I think it's called. I'm sure you've seen it before.
My IPS, ms.ip, whatever it is.
But she was mainly like, that's what I've taught her to basically. She was mainly going through that, and you get some good gems on there. Like, don't get me wrong, but you get a lot of like dud leads as well. That just So I kind of switched and took her to the Google strategy, just literally typing in a subniche in Google, attacking those first people from like page 3 to page 8, and then go on Instagram and do them suggested. As soon as she changed that, the quality leads were a lot better. The quality calls I was taking were like 4x. And then like literally I just told her like, we just need to pump out the numbers in this now. And then all of a sudden, like we're getting like qualified meetings booked, from, when we sent out the form for someone to book on a call, it went from going 0 to 5K a month to like 20 to 40K a month or whatever around that mark, So the quality of leads changed, which obviously helped on, closing more clients through that way.
Amazing.
So that with the numbers, like more numbers pumped in, it just scaled what was working,
Yeah, for sure. That's it's a big change that as well, without a doubt. And no meetings to 5 clients. That's awesome. So I'm curious as well, just kind of like a last point here. You mentioned there about obviously, signing 5 clients in a month is a pretty tall order, and you said things start to break at scale. I'm curious to dig a bit deeper into that. Is it like right now, obviously, like on the media buying side, like the infrastructure side, things are tightening up a little bit? Is that why you then obviously hired that new general manager or the junior media buyer?
Yeah, so things were very, very tight. Like service delivery was down point. Like our results were incredible. And then we got to a point where we're in April now. So end of February, we signed two free clients. March, we brought on 5. This month, we brought on 3. So when in between end of Feb to March, when we sign on, I think we literally signed on 3 clients within the space of 2 days.
Right.
So just from like an admin side of things, again, like onboarding sorted, like I was onboarding process anyways, but just like kind of liaising with emails, trying to get people doing the onboarding. And then like we were on, I remember one of our client onboarding strategy calls, my bloody media buyer was calling the client the wrong website platform. Like he was saying, okay, so on WooCommerce, we're going to do this, we're on Shopify, because the client was on WooCommerce. And I was literally like texting, like, what are you doing? Just don't assume, because, and I understand from his point of view, like obviously onboarding 3 clients within the space of like 48 hours, which is crazy. And when he's looking at accounts, he just sees data as the numbers, So that's where I kind of felt like, okay, cool. Like this is where we can't onboard more than 1 or 2 clients within the space of a few days, because I could see that he was kind of getting confused, like with client names, like website platforms, and I guess it didn't kind of look too good, but all is good now. But that's where I kind of saw that, when we're trying to scale on heavily, and that thing that, that saying, when it rains, it pours, right? Like in agency, that is so true to a point. Like prior to that, I was getting rejected left, right, and center on these sales calls, and all of a sudden, in 1 month, 5 came aboard. But that outreach, those meetings came from the month before,
right. Okay. Got it.
And it kind of built up, and then in March, like, my pipeline was so full. I looked at myself. I was getting off sales calls, closing the deals. I was like, there must be something wrong here. Like, it shouldn't be like not this easy. Like, it shouldn't be going this well. Like, I was off like closed my 4th client in like 2 weeks. It's like, what is going on? Like, how's this happening? And that came from like the outreach that my VA was pumping like a few weeks prior to that. And then obviously when you first launch the ads, like, I think industry standard is like 3-4 days. People will launch the ads. We try to do it within 24 to 48 hours. We try to use it as almost like a unique selling point. So like most of the clients that we're working with are already running ads. So we try to limit that transition of them either turning off the ads or reducing the budget for us to launch our ads. Try to limit that as much as possible so they don't see a drop in sales. Hence why we try to launch
more of a seamless transition. Yeah,
exactly. So when we're trying to do that across 2-3 clients in the space of a few days, I noticed my media buyer was really tiring out. Especially when you first work with a new client, they've got loads of questions about the process. He was struggling to respond, so things were kind of breaking at that point. So I'm trying to get massively training my junior media buyer to kind of handle all that for him, so he can just focus on the ads. He'll still jump on client checking calls. If they have any technical questions, he'll obviously answer them. But my junior/general manager is mainly going to like initiate conversations, like how sales going, etc. Let them keep them updated with what changes we're making in the ad account, etc.
Yeah, I love it, dude.
It was a very scary period though. Like not only with the good things, but the some negative side of things. Like it was just so much going on. Like I was literally sitting in bed, looking up at the ceiling, thinking, tomorrow I've got on board 2 clients. We need to do this, and this. This ad copy needs to be on. I was just constantly thinking about it, which is something I kind of need to work on detaching. But
for sure, it's definitely a good problem to have. it's just making sure, obviously, that you maintain. That's the biggest thing, right? You keep the main thing. Client results always is on a pedestal. Current clients always come before new clients. That's something else to me that's super important. You know, your current client roster takes priority over all new clients and whatnot. Yeah, good. It's definitely a good issue to have, onboarding 5 clients over the course of a few days.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome, dude.
We had a similar thing this month. I think we brought on 3 clients in the first week of April. Again, my media buyer was kind of struggling with the onboarding, but we can manage to get kind of toned down our reach now a little bit and just really focus on just client satisfaction, you know. It goes such a long way.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Well, man, honestly, I think people, or a lot of people was able to pull, or hopefully would have able to pull a lot of actual insight from this interview. I deeply appreciate you coming on. Yeah, everybody who's watching, as always, I hope you found value. And any final words for you know, like people who are just starting out, got no clients, maybe got 1 client, but it's not going the best. They're having doubts, you know. I think everybody, when we first start out, we sign clients who aren't, you know, necessarily the best fit. And obviously, you know, when you're starting out, you're very impressionable at that time. So you definitely do start to potentially doubt the process, that maybe it doesn't work, maybe it's not for me. Any final words for people who are watching who are in that stage right now?
Yeah, I'd say it sounds almost a bit cliche, but always kind of be a student. Like, I'll be transparent. I signed a client just off your YouTube content alone. Like, before I even joined, ultimately, like just purely for the YouTube content. In the space, I literally schedule it in my diary, in my daily diary, to kind of do a watch over the recent videos in the space that the people are subscribed. Obviously, you're one of the people I subscribe to. It's just because, like, one, I'm keeping my ears open to the industry and what's going on. But especially way back when, like, I was religiously watching YouTube videos on not just outreach, but like the market itself, like even just like abandoned cart sequences on Shopify, because then that's another point that I can use to resonate with clients on sales calls, you know. And then the kind of other point to that is just, you've just got to be resilient. Like, it took me like 2.5 months to sign my first client. It's literally like, I've had some weird and wacky sales calls, like when I'm trying to pitch prices and it didn't make sense. I've had business owners shut the laptop screen on me. I can literally see him do that. So I know for a fact he's literally just completely pied me on the sales call. And you're going to have calls like that. You just have to go through the shit calls to have the good calls, you know? Yeah. Whenever I explain that to people reaching out to me, they kind of not get let down. They're probably expecting more gems, but that's kind of the reality of it. You're going to have shit emails, you're going to have shit sales calls before you get the ones that work. Then when you get the ones that work, you just literally quadruple down on it, you know, and the clients will naturally follow. So for sure. That's awesome, dude. It's definitely important that it's based on reality, you know, not selling people on a pipe dream or anything like that. You know, I was literally speaking about this the other day. It's never as good as it seems, or as people make it out to be. The reality of it, nobody talks about. I've never had that, but nobody talks about prospects shutting the laptop on you. That's the first I've heard of that, which is wild, but it's the reality of it, right? Like that idea of it just, you know, not working whatsoever. I was speaking to somebody else. He was saying that his first client ad account got entirely hacked. Client thought it was him. 3 weeks later, he basically left. You know, it's just like, it happens for sure. But like you say, you just gotta push through for sure, dude. As always, dude. I appreciate your time coming on, man. As I say, hopefully everybody who's watching is able to pull some actionable insights. And with that being said, as always, guys, I will see you in the next video.